What's up everyone, my name is Nick and guess where I am? I'm in one of my favorite streets here in Kuching. This is Joo Lane, one of the oldest streets here in Kuching. It's over 100 years old. The buildings here were built over 100 years ago and it is a very interesting little street. It has some interesting history. There has been a lot of illegal activity here. So that is one thing that we're gonna find out and learn about, what was so illegal about this street. And this street is very famous for a couple of things, some pastries and things. So that's what we're gonna find out today in this video. Let's explore Joo Lane here in Kuching. This is Global Gibbon. Let's start off with one of the most iconic buildings in all of Sarawak, in my opinion. This is the Lane building. 4 stories on this side and 3 or 2 stories on that side. I know that there are some beautiful apartments up here. Can you imagine living right downtown here in one of these beautiful apartments? You can see all over the city. Hello. So there used to be a coffee shop, a coffee place in here, but I believe they closed down in 2020. Might be due to COVID, but I remember having cappuccinos here in that little courtyard. It was really a nice place to come and relax, and it is pretty quiet here, so definitely a nice place. Now let's explore the rest of this lane. So this street was built by one businessman, Mr. Joo. So in 1923 he built 32 shoplots here, and as a form of respect, the current or the ruler of Sarawak, which was Charles Brooke, he told everyone to call this street Joo Lane, named after the businessman that built this whole street. Now the locals didn't call this lane Joo Lane, they called it Sa Li Hung, which is Hokkien or Teochew for lane with thin roofs, because these buildings were originally built with red bricks and tin roofs. So everyone just called it the lane with all the tin roofs. Now I've got a dry throat and people used to get a lot of dry throats here. Do you want to know why? Let's go inside this coffee shop and find out what I'm gonna do to relieve my dry throat and what people used to do here to relieve their dry throat. I am at one of the oldest coffee shops here on Joo Lane, and this shop has been open for 80 years. The lady running this shop is second generation. Her father originally opened this coffee shop and now she's running it. Now what is most interesting at this coffee shop is, well, it looks absolutely beautiful of course, but they serve a very special drink here which is difficult to find anywhere else. It's called a butter coffee, which I ordered, and this was also called an opium coffee. Opium, you might think? Yes, back in the day when all the mainland Chinese people would migrate to Sarawak to work here, they also brought their drugs, the opium that they used to smoke. So this street was also called the Opium Lane or something like that. There used to be a lot of opium dens here where they would be smoking this opium and getting high after a hard day's work because they didn't have much else to do because their family was in China, so they were here bored. Now, smoking opium makes your mouth and your throat really dry. So they couldn't just drink the normal black coffee, so they decided, why don't we put some butter in that coffee, and that smoothens the throat. Hence, the butter coffee here is called opium coffee. Alright, little cube of butter in the coffee, stir it around. I also like this cup because it's a traditionally old cup of coffee. So let's try this butter coffee. It's nice, a lot more creamy, of course, than just a black coffee. And yes, it feels like it hydrates a little bit more. Now, come here, have a look. Here we go. So here's an old photo of all these opium smokers. So can you imagine being here 100 years ago, 80 years ago, and everyone was just smoking up on their opium and then coming down here to drink a nice cup of butter coffee. Right, my throat is not dry anymore. So I was talking to the lady, the owner of the shop. She's 73 years old. She's been running this business for many years, and she remembers sending some of these butter coffees up to the shops up here where all these opium dens were. And then she told me that these laborers who used to live up there, they were originally from China, they worked so hard, they were ripped, they were super strong, and they used to carry bags of rice. They were working in the field, so proper laborers. And then after work they would come here to their little, apartments, and they'd be smoking the opium. She said she remembers the smell of the opium. So yeah, this used to be a big illegal drug street. Now, no more opium. Let's explore the rest of the street. Come. So when the street first opened, was used, it was known as the Lane of the Tin Roofs, which are still here. Then years later, a lot of coffin makers opened their shops here, so there were a lot of coffin shops. And then this lane became known as the Coffin Lane. However, all the coffin shops have also disappeared, and after that you had a lot of tailors come in. So there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 tailors left on this shop. So if you want to get your garments tailored and made tighter if you lost a bit of weight, like me, then I can send my baju here. Alright, so I just spoke to one of the tailors here, this lady behind me. She's been working here for 30 years. Now, she doesn't own the shop, she just knows that this shop, this building, has been here for over 100 years. And her bosses probably ran this shop for a very, very long time, 30, 40, 50, 60 years perhaps. She said there used to be a lot more tailors here on the street. Of course, the tailor business with all the online stuff going on has dropped, but there's still a few here. Now, I was gonna go and see some pastries, so continue our journey. I found the pastries. So what I love about Joo Lane, and there is another street here in Kuching which has similar little factories like this, which is Jalan Padungan. So there's still these old little factories here where they're really making these traditional pastries. So here they're making yam pastries, they're making siu pao, which is like a pork pastry, and they also make almond cookies here. Only a few products, but they're really, really delicious, and they've been doing this for decades. So even if you're here 50 years ago, there'd still be a little shop here, or there was a shop like this where they handmade all these delicious pastries. Now it's time for a taste test. I like it, it's flaky. It's just the right mixture of yam and meat. It's not too dry, it's yummy. Best in the world. Alright, this is very special. I'm sitting here with Woo Kun Tea. She has been making these pastries for over 50 years. Now, she told me that she's originally from Hong Kong, born in Hong Kong, and then came to Kuching. And then as she wanted to feed her children, she had to start a little business. So she started with first curry puffs, and then she thought, why don't we make some more? So then she started making siu pao and yam puffs. And she's been doing this, like I said, for decades, for over 50 years. And she's very famous because her pastries are the best in the world.
Best in the world. Very nice.
Very nice. So what she's making now is the yam puff. So it's a mixture of yam, and then there's some chicken and pork in here. She mixes it together. It's her own recipe, and she makes a lot every day. You think maybe she does 50 or 100? No, she makes 500 pieces per day, and they're all sold out every day. Alright, so what is your name?
My name is Anna.
Anna. Okay, so Anna is the second generation. Just now we had a chat with her mom. That's your mom, right?
Yep.
So your mom has been making all these delicious curry puffs for, what did you say, 54 years?
Yes. She's from Hong Kong.
She's from Hong Kong originally. And what age did you start helping your mother out?
My age is 18 years old. After my school, so I start work until now, 42 years.
42 years you've been working here,
Yep.
so it's a long time. Nice. And until what age do you think you want to work here?
Until until late 70.
Okay. How old is your mother?
My mother,
80.
he just retired
Okay.
this year.
But she's still doing some.
Yeah. She
you
got
know,
a heart problem, so she cannot take too much to work.
Yeah, can't
He
walk.
just come down, see people, talk with customer.
Hang out a bit.
Yeah. So he love like chit chat with people, you know.
Yeah, that's the best. I think that's really Kuching. Yeah, it's all about the chit chatting with everyone. I love it. Yep. All right, thank you so much.
Welcome. Bye
And,
bye. Have a
good
nice
luck,
day.
Good luck on the business. So this is the end of the video. I had an amazing time here on Joo Lane. I learned a lot about the pastries, about the opium coffee, about the opium dens, all this illegal activity that was going on here on the street, and its history. I hope I've answered the questions that I was asking at the beginning of the video. Now, like I said, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and there's another really interesting street here. This street next to it, have a little look. This street is 160 years old. This is India Street, but we're not gonna cover that in this video, so make sure to subscribe. Then maybe I'll do another video about India Street. Leave a like, leave a comment, and we'll see you again in the next video. Now I'm gonna enjoy all this yummy food. Bye bye.